Welcome to the Hollis Chapman Show, where we celebrate the power of words and the beauty of storytelling. Join us every week. We have conversations with authors and small business owners. We have exciting lineup of guests who will take us on a literary journey like no other. Join us as we delve into the world of authors and small business owners from diverse backgrounds and cultures, each bringing their own unique perspective and voice to the table. From thrilling memoirs to captivating fiction and business startups, our guests will share their stories, their struggles, and their triumphs, offering us a glimpse into the rich tapestry of human experience. Immerse yourself in the magic of words and discovery as we explore the global literary landscape together. So grab a cup of tea, cozy up by the fire, and join us on this adventure of a lifetime. The Hollis Chapman Show is your ticket to a world of imagination, inspiration, and enlightenment. Don't miss out on the opportunity to connect with some of the most talented and compelling voices in literature today. Tune in and let the journey begin.
Hey, hello, welcome to the Hollis Chapman Show. I am Hollis. Happy Tuesday before Thanksgiving. I hope everybody's probably working the last day for the week, so make sure you stay safe and get ready for a great Thanksgiving, okay? Okay, our special guest today is an award-winning Canadian author with a love for folklore, history, and a quiet music of natural world. Okay, she's up from the area from I'm up. She's from Montreal, and I'm from Plattsburgh. Plattsburgh, New York is 45 minutes south of Montreal. So we used to go there in high school all the time to hang out. And a lot of Canadians from Montreal who's come down to our place to go to our beach. How cool is that? Okay, so we're very excited to have her here. She's here to talk about her books. So this is a trilogy of her books that she's writing. So without further ado, let's welcome to the show our special guest, K.T. Engelhardt.
Introduction. And before we get started, I do have to ask, were you tempted to go to Montreal during your youth? Because our drinking age is 18.
That was the main draw. We used to go there all the time.
I knew
We used to go there all the time. We used to buy a case of Molson and bring it back to Plattsburgh.
it. I'm
Yeah,
glad you said Molson. Good choice.
yeah. So yeah, it was fun. Good memories there. And then, like I said, summer times in Plattsburgh, a lot of Canadians come down and hang out on our beach. So that was kind of cool too.
That's so true. We've done it as a family, absolutely. And also it's just like a fun day shopping trip because we
Yeah,
used to like find shopping in the States like so like exotic and fun. Like
yeah,
everything is slightly cheaper.
yeah.
You tend to have more things and it's always like a good time.
That's really cool. When I heard that, the reason why I heard the Montreal because I was watching some of your videos on YouTube today, and one of the gentlemen said, "Oh, she's from Montreal," so that's how I know that, and that's very cool. Very cool. Okay, so tell us more about yourself, and tell us about this exciting trilogy that you're finishing up on.
Yeah, thanks so much. I guess what to tell you, what to tell you. I've been writing for a long time, but this is my first book series. I've written the first and the second, and now the third and final installment will be coming out spring 2026, and I'm really excited about it. It's been really. This series has meant everything to me. It was kind of my first foray into writing fantasy and doing such heavy research to weave in like a lot of mystical elements because like I'm a huge fan of mysticism and kind of weird new agey witchy stuff. So I think that for me that grounds the magic, and that's what I wanted to bring to the table, just like a story that felt almost real, that wove in concepts that we a lot of people understand today, and that simultaneously um, opens up the imagination because
Yeah.
there's so much folklore in there from the lands. It takes place across Scotland and Ireland, and for people who have an interest in that part of the world, I'm definitely drawn to it, and I know I'm not the only one. I think it's like a warm hug, and it's like very it's just such a magical journey, and that's my hope that people get lost in this world.
Beautiful. You know what? You said you've been writing for a long time. What was a wow moment when you said to yourself, "Yeah, I'm going to write. This is what I like to do." Well, so you bring us back and think about it and go, was there a certain person you're looking up to? Was there certain things you ran into and say, "I really like this"? So kind of bring us back to when you sit there, KT, and said, "Yeah, I'm going to write."
It's a big question, but I do have to bring it back to this one moment. In elementary school, we were doing like a sort of, it was like a class competition for public speaking. And I really, really hated public speaking. I was
Mm,
very, very nervous. But I did enjoy writing my speech. And it was about, and we're talking like I'm in grade 4 or 5, and
yeah.
I'm talking about how Friends is the greatest show on earth, and it's like Friends is very mature for that age, but I like obviously those adult jokes would go over my head, and I just enjoyed so much the dynamic and all that stuff. So that's what I like. That was my speech, and the class came up to me afterwards, shy little Katrina, and said, "You're really funny. Did you know that?" I was like, that's cool. And I
Yeah.
realized I really enjoyed, I did not enjoy the speaking part, and I did really enjoy the writing part. And they kind of voted me in to like do a storytelling competition across, like in front of the whole school.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, no, that's quite all right. Thank you very much. I'm satisfied. And I think that's when I knew I would keep writing. And I did. I would always like kind of at my desk, like come up with little stories. And as I read, when I grew older, and I read a lot, and I would just like every time I'd read something, I'd think, oh, like I'd kind of my mind would trail off and be like, but wouldn't this be an interesting twist, or wouldn't that be a great story to tell? So I think I always knew that was inside of me.
Perfect. You mentioned public speaking and nervousness. I remember in high school in Little Plattsburgh, took a public speaking class. I don't know why I took public speaking, but I did. And I know it was my turn coming up that week to give my speech. I was nervous, didn't sleep for a week.
Oh,
It's like, oh my gosh. And so that was the most nerve wracking thing I ever in my life is doing that. But yeah,
I
that's
feel you.
so that was just weird. Okay, so to your book, can you speak to the significance of Celtic myth and folklore in shaping the world of Scottish trilogy? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, the Celtic myth. So, I think it's so I wanted to say it's important to say that I did a lot of research. I'm not
Mm,
Scottish. I'm not Irish. I'm of Italian descent. I'm Italian Canadian, and love my heritage. But there's you sometimes you just get a pull, like a really deep interest in another culture, and that's what happened to me. So I did a deep dive. I went and I traveled to Ireland and Scotland. I've been to Scotland 3 times
wow.
actually,
Yeah.
as throughout writing this series. And I tried to immerse myself. I spoke to a lot of locals. I read a lot of their local books. They have great, great books that we don't necessarily stumble upon here at Barnes and Noble or Indigo. Sometimes they have like little local shops in their small towns. So yeah, and I just like I did fall in love with lots of the stories I heard. What's so interesting there is their folklore is very much their stories are very heavily tied to certain landscapes. So of like so a mythical creature in a lake. Of course, you guys all know the Loch Ness monster.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
not of huge significance in my book. It's kind of mentioned in passing because it's so popular and commercial. I couldn't
Mhm.
not. But it's just to say, and I learned so many stories that lots of people don't hear of it unless they're there and being told by a local. And those are they're just fascinating, and I wanted that to come alive, and I wanted the like fantasy reading experience to feel also like a bit of a teachable moment, like not
Yeah.
in a preachy way, just in a openly cultural way. And I tend to love that. Like if I'm reading something and I know there's like a derivative of like Norse mythology or Greek or anything like that, I think it's amazing. Like I'm learning as I'm reading and being super entertained by it too. And yeah, that's kind of where it all comes from.
Perfect. Is the ancient stories influence your writing? Okay, so kind of share with us how that. I mean, because it's very exciting. It's very
Yeah.
the research and do kind of stuff. So that really kind of keeps you going, keeps you motivated. That ancient stories influence in your
Yeah.
writing characters. Is that what it does?
Yeah, especially when you visit these sites. So
Yeah.
I'll just say there's a lot of Neolithic history, of course, in that part of the world, and there's lots of burial mounds, and they're so mysterious. No one really knows what they're there for. So when I visited Newgrange, a very popular one, there's other ones that are amazing, but that is the most popular one, I guess, that you could that people know of in Ireland, in the Boyne Valley, and it's just incredible. You when you get to witness like this weird thing that was built for God knows what reason, and so deliberately built, so mysteriously built. Like these stones were transported, supposedly very,
Mm.
very heavy, heavy stones transported. They were not from the